Right, I'm John Savage-Onstwedder. I've been making cheese here for 30 years at Glynhynod Farm. I'm really also known as the godfather of Welsh artisan cheesemakers because I've been doing it for the longest period now, 30 years. And what distinguishes Teifi farmhouse cheese from other cheeses, especially mass-produced factory cheeses, is the fact that it's made with raw milk, unpasteurized milk. There are many advantages of raw unpasteurized milk. The first advantage, of course, is the flavor. A raw milk cheese has more depth of flavor than a pasteurized cheese. There are other advantages. There are health advantages because pasteurization kills all bacteria, also the benevolent bacteria, and obviously it works on the enzymes. It denaturates the enzymes, and also you will have a loss of vitamins as well. And another advantage, of course, is everybody's on about carbon footprint nowadays. It takes 3 times more energy to produce pasteurized than unpasteurized because you have to heat treat the milk to about 77 degrees Celsius. Once you've done that, you have to reduce it again so you can add your starter culture, and then you have to heat it up again to the required temperature for the recipe, whether it be Teifi, cheddar, Lancashire, Emmental, Gruyere, whatever it may be. I moved to Wales from Holland in 1981, started cheese making in 1983. It was always our intention to start making raw milk cheese because the art of making artisan raw milk cheese has almost died out, right? And we were pioneers. There was a resurgence of artisan cheese making in the 1980s, and I was part of that, the early 1980s, and I was part of that resurgence. The milk is local milk, sourced locally from one farm. We only have the milk from one farm. The milk comes in early in the morning, goes in the cheese vat, right? We then add our starter culture, and when it's 29 degrees, we add the rennet. The rennet coagulates the milk. You can then start, because basically cheese is the solids in the milk. It takes 10 litres of milk to produce 1 kilogram of cheese. So a cheese like this, for instance, which is 4 kilograms, was 40 litres of milk. So once you add the rennet, you cut the curd, you put it in the molds, and the molds go under the press. The presses you saw there are 120 years old, right? Goes under the press, the excess whey is taken out, and then we put the cheeses in a brine bath to add the salt, and then basically they go on the shelves for maturation. We produce 4 different sizes. We start at 500 grams, then 1 kilogram, then 4 kilograms, right up to 8 kilograms, large cheeses, and we do different types. The basic cheese is Teifi natural, nothing added other than salt, rennet, and starter culture, right? But we do add nettles, stingy nettles. We add seaweed, local seaweed, harvested from the Welsh coast. We have garlic, we have sweet pepper, and that's about it. We also do an oak smoke cheese, proper oak smoke. I suppose it depends on mood as well, really. It depends on mood sometimes, and it depends on what you're eating as well. My favorite would be the smelly cheese, which is called Celtic Promise or Saval, which is the most highly awarded cheese in Britain. Twice Celtic Promise was supreme champion at the British Cheese Awards. Well, we've been going for 30 years. There'd be a very, very big list of the awards we've done. I will mention the major ones. Celtic Promise, twice supreme champion at the British Cheese Awards, 1998 and 2009. Supreme Champion, which means 1998, 680 cheeses, it was the top cheese, right? And then the next time there were about 860 cheeses, again the top cheese. Now Saval, I've mentioned Saval, that is the most, Saval has won the most prestigious award in British artisan cheese making, which is actually the James Aldridge Memorial Trophy for the best British raw milk cheese. That trophy was founded by HRH, the Prince of Wales, and you cannot nominate yourself. You have to be nominated by your own peers. So other cheesemakers have to nominate you, otherwise you cannot even enter that award. So it's the most prestigious award in British raw milk cheesemaking. Well, I've been involved in the organic movement since the early 70s, and I became acquainted with the organic movement after reading Silent Spring by Rachel Carson, in which she showed that how much environmental damage was being done by the use of chemicals, pesticides, insecticides, fungicides, all that sort of thing, the harm it was doing to the environment. And also after reading a report called Limits to Growth by the Club of Rome, and that report was commissioned by the MIT, Massachusetts Institute of Technology. So I was involved in the environmental movement and the organic movement in the early 70s, and that's why we have chosen to farm organically. It's better for the environment, it's less pollution, and it's also better for the consumer because it's a better product. I mean, it's obviously much better if you're eating something that's not full of chemical pesticides and insecticides. It's better for your body. There are a number of certifying bodies in the UK, and I mean internationally it's the IFOAM, it's the International Federation of Agricultural Movements. Here in Britain, the one we use is the Soil Association. Well, the recipes we've used, we started with the basic recipe, which was Teifi natural. When we started way back in 1983, we had an 800 litre cheese vat, small cheese vat, right? Then we went to a 1,000 litre cheese vat. Now we have a 1,500 litre cheese vat. So production has increased over the years. Obviously, that's a good thing because there was more demand for the cheese. And but basically the recipe hasn't changed, it's the same. And we have increased the number of products over the years. For instance, we started with natural Teifi, then we started with seaweed, and then nettles and sweet pepper, so oak smoked cheese as well. So over the years we have increased the number of products, but the basic recipe, the raw milk, is the same, hasn't changed. Well, if you're inquiring about the differences between cheeses, you know, why is an Emmental an Emmental, and a Gruyere, and a Gouda, and a Cheddar, right? Although all those cheeses are made with cow's milk, right, and in some cases with unpasteurized cow's milk, right? Why is one a Gruyere? Why is one a Cheddar? Why is one a Gouda? Is basically because you are using a different recipe. Gouda's a recipe, Cheddar's a recipe. So it's the method of cheese making. It can have to do with the temperature, how much rennet you add, the temperature, how long you cut the curd for. All those variants make up a recipe.